On February 27th, 1973, history was made in the bottom of this church, right here in Calico, a community on the Pine Ridge Reservation. I'd like to tell you a little bit about what led up to that historic decision. In 1973, Richard Wilson was elected as the new chair for, or rather, he was in late 1972. He was elected as the new chairman for the Pine Ridge Reservation. And he ran on an anti-corruption campaign. So this was new thinking, and so people voted him in. But soon as that happened, he started assigning his top positions to members of his family, and then they started. Well, one person had a doctorate's degree on education, and the other persons had master's degree. So they kind of felt that was okay because these are educated. But then he started appointing his friends and cronies to other positions and knocking down big salaries, and that's when they started to start looking differently about what he was about. And then the corruption began immediately, and so Vernon Long was elected vice chairman, and he was a member of the American Indian Movement, and he called for the resignation of the chairman. And then, of course, that set up an even greater division between AIM and the council. And then I was up on the Cheyenne River, up at Eagle Butte during these events were happening. And then on February 26th, a motion was made by the chairman to elect or to select a impeachment committee that would hear the charges against him. Now, when you're a chairman and you select a new committee for the reservation, you are the temporary chairperson of that committee until they elect a chairman for that committee. And lo and behold, all the people that he chose to be on that committee, they elected him to be the chairman of his own impeachment committee hearing. And so very quickly they moved for that resolution, and they said that the resolution was that Richard Wilson was not guilty of any wrongdoing and he should not be impeached. And the motion passed immediately, but of course there was a lot of people in the courtroom, and that spread across the country as well. And people in California heard about it before I heard about it. I was up on the Cheyenne River, Eagle Butte, and then Foolscrow and Russell Means, they taped a message to be sent to me up on Eagle Butte. And the message first was speaking was Foolscrow in the Lakota language. Then the interpretation was by Pedro Bisonet. And then after they were barely talking about what happened, and then Russell Means spoke, and he said, "DJ, come down here as soon as possible today, because we are going to decide what course of action in response to finding him not guilty. We're going to determine that, and come to Calico." So he says, and bring as many people as you can. So this was 4 o'clock in the morning. But I got up and we started calling around. We didn't have cell phones in those days, but we started calling around friends of ours in Eagle Butte, and we had 4 carloads of people, and we came down and we came right down to Calico right here. Well, across here is where the community center was, and there was about 300 people over there by then, and some of them were armed, and they were when I got out of the car, some of the guys were directing me over here, but I seen a lot of friends, so I went over and talked to them, and some of the guys were saying, "Hey, we mean business today, Banks. We're here. We need to go into action. So anyway, they brought me over here, and I came through here. I went downstairs, and there at the counter there was a row of, there was table settings, and there was Fool's Crow was there, and Frank Kill's Enemy was there, a Bad Cobb was there, Ed Fills the Pipe, Crow Dog, and there was a woman up there. It might have been Edwin's Fills the Pipe wife, but I remember woman sitting up there. But standing over here was Ellen Mooskamp, and there was Lou Bean was there, and there was another lady, Bissonette, and they were with representing the Oglala Sioux Civil Rights Organization. Pedro Bissonette was their spokesperson. He was there as well. And representing AIM, Clyde Belcourt, Russell Means, Carter Camp, and myself, Dennis Banks. There was another person with us at that point, but I think he was working with Carter. But Carter was we appointed him as our chief of security right away. And that's, and then the two decisions were made down here. One of them was to denounce the activities of Richard Wilson, and also that they would no longer recognize him as the chairman. And then the second one was to answer the question of what do we do, what we're going to do now. Fool's Crow and Crow Dog, Leonard Crow Dog, said, we have to settle this today. It has to be settled, and we must do something. But it seemed like they were uneasy on what direction to go. And then the women started speaking. Bissonette said, we don't have to wait for any decision like, there's Robert's Rules of Orders. We don't have to make those. We don't have to wait around for that. He said, we're not in this for, who's second it and who's second, And then Lou Bean, she said, you men better make up your minds. You better make up your minds, because if you don't do it, then the women are going to do it. And Ellen Mooskamp started speaking in Lakota, very strong. And she said, and over here stands the big people from the American Indian movement. What are you going to do? What are you going to do for us over here? And she says, but you're our leaders. She says, I'm agreeing. She says, if you don't do it, she says, the women are going to gather up everybody, and we're going to go down here and take over Pine Ridge. And so that's the way they were talking. And finally, Fool's Crow stood up. He said, there is some unfinished business. He said, all my life, I recognize we've not put a closure to Wounded Knee, for our ancestors that were shot down, killed. Over 250 men, women, and children were killed, and they lie in a big grave up there at Wounded Knee. He said, we should go to Wounded Knee first. He said, and then we will secure Wounded Knee. And Crow Dog says, yes, we will take it over, and only we will be there. We will set up roadblocks and this and that. And Carter Camp was saying, we'll do that. We'll do it. And Russell spoke. He said, I will speak for what I have to say on behalf of AIM, and Dennis is here, and he'll give us the go signal. So Russ spoke very strong that we should go to Wounded Knee, take it over, and we'll negotiate from there. And it was a little bit longer, and I got up and I said that the American Indian movement is here. Peter Bissonnette invited us here, and Phil the Pipe also was there when the invitation came. So we are here answering the call from the tribe. So we will support this action. We will lend all the force that we can, and we will go to Wounded Knee and we'll secure this place. And so Footscrow then spoke. They smoked the pipe and passed the pipe all around to everybody. And then he spoke one more time that he said, we will go to Wounded Knee. And Doksha, he said. And he left. And we all came out and we moved over there to make the announcement. Russ gave the announcement of what was going to happen. And there was cars were down that way half a mile on both sides of the road. So that was the beginning of what was to take place later that evening at Wounded Knee.